What's up? Your boy Domo Domuto. We back with another video today. We're watching What If Vegeta Stayed Evil Part 2 by Saiyan. And yeah, we better get into it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and Lego.
Those who haven't been revived yet are revived by
Time
damaged Dragon
passes.
Balls. And of course, at some point, the Namekians are going to relocate because they don't want Vegeta coming back to find them. Again, they don't really think that Vegeta even knows they're still alive in the first place, so maybe they're fine, but it's not worth risking. Namek is left behind for an entirely new planet, and the planet's left intact just in case Vegeta does try to visit it again. Immediately when everyone got back to Earth, they were wondering what their next step could be. Kami agrees with what Piccolo thought too. They're not going to be able to wish away Vegeta's immortality. At least Shenron definitely won't be capable of that, and he doubts Porunga would be too. Even though Porunga was the one to grant it, again they'd be trying to make a wish on someone who doesn't want it to be made on them. Like, a good example of this is when Porunga was going to bring Goku back from Yardrat, Goku just flat out denied it. Porunga can't force someone to do something that they don't want. And Porunga's definitely not stronger than Vegeta, so even though he granted the wish, he's not going to be able to take it away unless Vegeta wants to take it away, which definitely isn't happening. It would be really risky to make the wish too, because then the dragon would have to try and communicate with Vegeta, which would let him know someone's trying to reverse the wish. So they're better off not even trying it. All they could do now is prepare for his return. And this gives more motivation for all of them to train, especially Goku. An immortal opponent's definitely interesting. Vegeta's also grown really strong from his fight with Frieza, but all those power boosts he got from being damaged, that can only take him so far. He can only exploit them to a certain point. There's definitely going to be diminishing gains, so he can't just keep doing that. Otherwise he'd be able to get infinitely powerful. Goku still doesn't really know too much about that, but he assumes Vegeta's going to have to lay off it for a while. Although Kami does have one really good suggestion. If Vegeta actually does end up becoming a problem, they could just use the Mafuba. Sure, they can't kill him, but there's nothing against stealing him. Well, if it comes to that, they definitely will do that. So they don't really have too much of a reason to worry about Vegeta right now. They're going to grow a lot stronger, and in the meantime, Goku's going to try and learn the Mafuba for himself, and all his friends are probably going to try and do that too because that's the only counter for Vegeta they have. Goku wishes he could find some sort of other way to defeat Vegeta, but this way he could still at least have a fight with him, and then if things get really bad, just Mafuba him. So what is Vegeta up to? Well, he doesn't really know what to do next. The only idea he has in mind is to go fight King Cold, so he does exactly that. Going to defeat King Cold, and it's pretty quick. It's way quicker than what happened with Frieza too. Vegeta is naturally victorious over King Cold, and now the Frieza Force has no leader. So he could just destroy the rest of the Frieza Force, or he could probably take it under his control. Like, he doesn't really have any use for it. I don't think he could go on some sort of conquest right now because he doesn't really have an end goal with that. But he could use the resources of the Frieza Force in his favor, and all those soldiers could be nice for him. Well, it's no Saiyan army, but at least it's something. And the Frieza Force numbers have dwindled a lot, but still, there's enough to work with. This is now the Vegeta Force. Also, it's kind of an ego trip for him to do this. He defeated Frieza and Cold, and now he runs the army. Also, he doesn't really need any Dragon Balls right now. He got what he wanted. He wonders if he should go to Earth, though, but he doesn't really care anymore. He could settle the score with Kakarot, but that would be kind of pointless. Also, he is a bit curious as to what Kakarot's going to do in response, so it might be more interesting to give him some time, and that way Vegeta can enjoy the battle even more, instead of just going to Earth and winning with one shot. There's no fun in that. He knows Kakarot has it in him to at least do something. But either way, he's not really too obsessed over that right now because, well, he's going to win. He knows he won't lose. He can continue growing stronger too. He could still try and cheat Zenkais, but it's going to lose effectiveness. It still does work, but he kind of has to lay off it. He does try this out, like he drops his guard and lets some of the weaker Frieza Force soldiers attack him, which they do reluctantly and realize Vegeta actually does want that, but it kind of has diminishing returns, especially because even with his guard dropped, it's kind of hard to kill him. He even tries to go out in space again, but it seems his body's even adapting to that weirdly enough. So it seems Zenkais aren't going to give him as much of a boost anymore, and if he wants a boost from them in the first place, he's going to need an attack that actually does damage him. He could just fly himself into a star or something, but, you know, there's another way to grow stronger. He could just train. Plus, he'll grow stronger during combat. That's the best way to grow.
Right.
The next time he fights someone, he'll just grow that way. And amidst his aimless endeavors, one thing does cross Vegeta's mind. He wonders where his brother is. He gets the Vegeta Force to track him down. Vegeta's not really sure why he's doing this, but he's kind of bored. He only knows of two Saiyans out there, Kakarot and Tarble. Gohan too, of course, as a hybrid Saiyan. They eventually track down Tarble, and Vegeta doesn't really do anything about it. Tarble has heard of what's been going on. Frieza's been defeated, and Vegeta took over the army. Even over here, that news had spread. And he asked why Vegeta's here. Well, he asked if Tarble wants to join him. It would be nice to have another Saiyan around, even if Tarble's a bit weak. And that's not really Tarble's thing, but he asked what Vegeta's end goal is here too. No matter. He tells Tarble what he's accomplished, and he doesn't really have any specific plans yet. He just thought maybe it would be a good thing to see if any other Saiyans were out there.
That nigga Vegeta gonna
At the
be
very
bored
least,
than
his brother.
bitch.
And Tarble is pretty surprised to hear this. He's sure their father would be proud, but Vegeta doesn't really care about that. His father couldn't do what he did, nor could any other Saiyan for that matter. And Tarble can clearly see that Vegeta hasn't really changed much. He's very prideful, and actually it might be getting to his head a little bit more because of all the power he has. But Vegeta's no threat to him, thankfully. Also, Vegeta doesn't really have any aim here. He's taken over the Frieza
That
Force
nigga
and made it
Vegeta
the
lost.
Vegeta Force.
He don't know what the fuck
Well,
to
the
do.
Frieza Force's whole thing was taking over planets and making money from that, so
This
maybe
is
Vegeta can
without
do it.
Goku.
And at least it'll
pretty
give him
much.
some opportunities to fight. Unlike Frieza, he'll actually get his hands dirty, and he'll have fun with that. Let's go back to Earth. Of course, there's been no sign of Vegeta for a while. which is a good thing. They don't really want him coming there. In case he does, they are prepared though. Goku has visited King Kai during this time. Of course, he's been on Earth too, training a lot with Piccolo, and making sure to train Gohan up because if Vegeta comes back, he wants Gohan to be strong enough to fight him. But Goku has visited Otherworld a bit. King Kai's training has been really helpful. He's not too sure what to focus on next, so he's been working a lot with Kaioken and seeing if he can learn any other techniques, which leads to King Kai showing him some other people in Otherworld. So he picks up on a few interesting things there, but nothing he could really use right now. Although one thing in particular that he does find is there are some people from Yardrat, and he does learn about instant transmission. He also learns about the fusion dance pretty early on, although doesn't really focus on that at all. So he doesn't really pick up on too many new techniques, but hey, instant transmission is pretty cool. And with all this time in Otherworld, King Kai then eventually notices something strange about Goku. One day during training, he just collapses. King Kai tries to see what's wrong, and I'm assuming as a Kai he might have the power to even see this right away, but he comes to see that Goku's succumbed to some sort of virus.
There's no Trunks.
Thankfully he's in the right place for this. It's gotten really bad.
But Gohan,
I'm sure King Kai would have some sort of access to some sort of healer, or something that can heal Goku. And essentially what happens here is Goku avoids the heart virus. It's a good thing he was in Otherworld, because if he weren't here, well, he would have been sent to Otherworld. King Kai did him a favor and basically saved him from this. Spending a lot of time here training really worked out. Not just in terms of power, but it prevented Goku from dying permanently. Also, while in Otherworld, Goku learns more about the Saiyans. Of course, there's not really many people in the heaven part. Pretty much every Saiyan has been sent to hell, and no one's really kept their bodies either. But he does hear a bunch of stories about Saiyans, and there were some good ones in the past which he can't seem to find up here. Also, he learns more about the universe around him. He hears about something called the Demon Realm, but not really too much about that. Basically, all this time in Otherworld means Goku's gonna get a lot of good info. But it's all very broad and nothing he could really act on or use against Vegeta. Same for his techniques too. So he continues training here, and keeps all this new info in mind. Even if Vegeta is immortal, Goku will find a way to grow stronger and defeat him. The Mafuba is still an option, but he wants to figure out if there's any other way, because that would be way more entertaining for him. Plus, it'll improve him even further. In case you couldn't tell by Goku suffering from the heart virus, soon enough the androids will show up. Thankfully, by the time they show up, Goku gets back to Earth pretty quickly. He could just teleport there. Kami tells King Kai, and King Kai tells Goku. Someone is attacking Earth, and they can't really tell who because they don't have any energy to sense. But once they pinpoint the city that's being attacked and they see something on the news about it, they could pretty easily tell. These are androids. They have no ki to sense, and one is wearing the logo of the Red Ribbon Army. Also, in case it wasn't clear, there's no future timeline here because Goku never died, no one traveled in the past, and that also means the androids that appear are 17 and 18, not 19 and 20. So there's no future Trunks, future Gohan, or anything, just this timeline. And there's nothing Goku can really do here. He's pretty much thrust into battle right away, alongside all of his friends. He's not sure if the Mafuba is going to work on the androids, and it's kind of risky to try anyways. Because first of all, he doesn't even have a container, and even if he did, it takes a lot of focus and power to use, and if he uses that and it doesn't end up actually catching them because they have no energy, well, then he just wasted a bunch of power for nothing. I'm sure it would work on them because they're cyborgs, not androids.
Right.
But Goku doesn't know that right off the bat. From what he can
he
tell,
got
they're
Super
just
Saiyan
purely
yet.
mechanical, which means it probably wouldn't even work. Also, not really his style, he'd rather actually beat them. There is also the fusion dance, but he doesn't have time to teach to anyone, nor could he actually perform it with anyone here because he'd have to lower his power a lot. Goku is the strongest of the group right now, by a pretty big margin. Piccolo also does have the option of fusing with Kami if he wants here, which definitely could defeat the androids, but he's caught up in the battle right now and can't really do that, and it's risky. It would mean that they have no Dragon Balls left, so if anyone dies here, which a bunch of civilians already have, they won't be able to bring them back unless they go to Namek again or something, but Namek's gone. They've already moved. So they're in a really tough spot. They just need to fight the androids right now and see if they can defeat them. Given all the changes so far, it's pretty safe to say that the androids are probably way weaker than normal, especially with the fact that there's no time travel here. Goku, on the other hand, is in a really weird spot because he's weaker than normal in the sense that he doesn't have Super Saiyan, but in terms of his base, he's grown pretty much to where he should be. I'd also say Gohan's above normal, and pretty much everyone else too, because they've been training seriously. They thought Vegeta would come back, and they needed to prepare for that. And of course, another big upside is the fact that Goku's not dead here while fighting the androids, so at least they have him. But still, it's not easy. Goku has grown much better with Kaioken. He can push it to around times 50, but he can only use that in very short bursts, and when he actually does that, he can damage the androids a bit. The thing is that of course does harm him, and he can't use it consistently throughout battle. It puts way too much strain on his body, but he can at least use times 20 without too much struggle, so he has to kind of stick with that. But it isn't enough. The Z fighters start getting defeated one by one, and the androids decide to play around a bit. They know Goku's holding back that full power of his, and they kind of want to see it drawn out because if he draws that out, it'll make the fight a lot more interesting for Android 17 and 18. They'll still be able to win and have the advantage, but come on, a challenge would make it a lot more interesting. They tell Goku they'll kill his friends one by one until he actually brings that out. It's kind of like a game to them. First, they start with Krillin. Ironically, Android 18 is the one to do the deed, grabbing him by his gi, throwing him up in the air, and then launching a bunch of ki blasts at him with her bow.
Here we go.
Krillin falls to the ground. A really big mistake on their part. Krillin can't be revived anymore. Earth Dragon Balls won't work, and they don't know where Namek is now. In Goku's eyes, at least for this moment, he fully believes he just watched his best friend die permanently. And it was a brutal sight for Gohan too. He's grown so much closer to Krillin over this time, especially after Namek, and returning to Earth, he spent a lot more time with Krillin. It's his father's best friend. Krillin's basically his uncle. It's horrifying for everyone else to see too. But it triggers something in Goku and Gohan. Goku feels a type of rage that he's never felt before. He hasn't felt something like this since Krillin last died, or after seeing his friends die from Vegeta and Nappa. But this rage is even beyond that, and Gohan feels the same thing. A powerful gust of wind bursts through the city that they're fighting, generated for both Goku and Gohan. What happens next is pretty much simultaneous. Together, the two of them transform, going Super Saiyan for the first time. The tide of the battle changes completely. Now Goku has that same boost in power, but he's not having the drawbacks of Kaioken. Plus, Gohan's involved too. And with their combined power, they're not stronger than both the androids together, but they're much stronger than one android individually. Goku can see that Gohan's undergone the same change, and he's not sure what this is, but he'll have to guide Gohan through this. They fight together. First, taking on Android 18, defeating her pretty quickly. Next is Android 17, who tries to fight, but it's pretty hopeless for him. He's against two Super Saiyans, and he's overpowered. The fight got drastic pretty quickly, but at least it also ended pretty quickly. And now Goku and Gohan are left with this new power that they know nothing about. And it's great that the androids have been defeated, but there's still a huge issue here. The androids killed a bunch of people in the city, and Krillin's dead too. The people who died here could at least be brought back by Shenron, but Krillin can't. Now with the fight over, they've calmed down. They need to figure out what to do next. Of course, they're going to look more into that power that they just got. Goku's pretty surprised that Gohan got the same thing too, but he could tell they both felt the same type of rage at Krillin's death. Now they need to try and find Namek somehow. The good thing is, Goku has been in contact with King Kai a lot more. So in the moment, Goku thought that Krillin was permanently gone, but now that he's more level-headed, there's an easy way to bring him back. Go to King Kai, find where the Namekians are.
Won't let him get away.
There. Goku pretty much immediately does that, teleporting to King Kai, finding new Namek, and then teleporting.
This story pretty interesting. I'm sorry if I'm not talking.
Lives there. It's kind of a decoy in case Vegeta comes back. That way he doesn't know the Namekians are still alive. And when Goku gets new Namek, he learns that Mori's the new Elder, and the Dragon Balls have been upgraded. One wish is enough to revive everybody killed by the androids, including Krillin, which is good. That got pretty easily reversed. But Mori wants to know what happened in the first place. Of course, he's glad to help Goku, but he wonders, did Vegeta come back to Earth? No, it was actually a completely different threat. So he explains, and also tells Mori about that new power that he got, which is kind of interesting to Mori because he didn't know Saiyans had a power like that. At least, not normally. He feels like he saw something about it in the Namekian Book of Legends. It's something called a Super Saiyan or something. Well, at least Goku knows what it's called now, and he thanks Mori for the help. Leaving pretty quickly before Mori can even mention any more. He didn't even mention the book by name. He just mentioned that he knew about Super Saiyan. There was some sort of legend about it. And it makes him curious.
Hey, Legend
he
of
goes to
Korra.
look at the Book of Legends, looking more into what a Super Saiyan is, and also finds out about a Super Saiyan God, which is completely different and he actually didn't know about. He wishes Goku got to see this, but if he ever visits again, he'll be sure to tell him. At least now, Goku kinda knows what he's working with, and same for Gohan. They'll train even further. The best part for them is, Vegeta has no clue about their developments, and he doesn't know what a Super Saiyan is yet. With that, we'll leave off here for now.
Okay.
What do you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas. Full control of the Frieza Force, now renamed the Vegeta Force, Vegeta continues to expand it. He basically goes into the same exact business as Frieza. Although, unlike Frieza, he's actually involved in a lot of the work. His army expands, his empire expands, and his fortunes expand. No one could stand up to him either. He's the be-all end-all to everything. But of course, that does draw attention from some other people. Years pass, and eventually, his army's attacked by someone. It's a random outpost that gets attacked, and he's not really too sure why. But there were reports of a really strong villain that showed up. Vegeta kinda scoffs at this, but he goes to check it out for himself because, of course, he wants to see if he could have a good fight. He's long since forgotten about people like Kakarot. And there have been some strong people out here, but no one really was able to stand up to him. So he seeks a good fight and decides, you know what, he'll handle this one. Even if it's not really that big of a deal, at least he gets to do something. He arrives at the outpost. It's completely leveled, and there's only one person there. He definitely looks strong, but Vegeta can't really tell how strong he truly is. But he's ready to fight this guy.
Dabura.
The opponent he's facing is Dabura. Of course, with how notorious Vegeta is, Babidi eventually caught on to that. Instead of going to Earth, he decided he's going to go after Vegeta to get some energy. All they needed to do was draw him out, and by using Dabura's power, he'd be able to take that for himself. But it becomes clear pretty quickly that he's not really a challenge for Dabura. They know Vegeta's immortal by now. And Dabura does try to test out his power, but Vegeta's not really strong enough to contend against him, which is fine for Vegeta. He'll just let Dabura injure him, and he'll grow strong enough to actually fight him. But Babidi tells Dabura to just bring Vegeta to him. So, he doesn't fight any longer. Simply he spits on Vegeta, which really angers Vegeta at first because it's disrespectful, but then he realized that the spit is turning him to stone. And it's already too late. Vegeta has turned into a statue, and Dabura picks him up, bringing him to Babidi. Now Babidi's not really too sure what to do about this. So, since Vegeta's immortal, technically he could just steal energy from him forever, because if he just drains all of Vegeta's energy, that kills him, and then it should regenerate. Even though Vegeta's immortal, it's not like he has infinite energy, but by constantly killing him and constantly bringing that energy back, slowly but surely it kind of does act as infinite energy. It's just that each time he regenerates, it's only going to be a fraction of his true strength, so the process will be slow. But Babidi does have a way to speed it up, not to mention the potential to have another servant. It should be pretty easy too. Vegeta's very evil. he shouldn't be too hard to take over. It'll be a win-win for Babidi. He'll have someone else under his control, and it'll mean Vegeta has further power for him to exploit. So Dabura frees him, and the second Vegeta's back, Babidi starts to control his mind. Vegeta can't actually resist this. He has so much evil within him at this point that Babidi doesn't even try and exploit
Vegeta might be a slave.
It's just there. It's very apparent and makes him very susceptible. Of course, he tries to fight back. He doesn't give in to this willingly. But with how strong Babidi's magic is against his evil, very quickly, Vegeta becomes Majin Vegeta. Getting a nice boost in power too, but Babidi sees even more power beneath the surface. So he tries to draw that out, wondering what he can get from this because this will make the process a lot quicker. He draws out all that evil from Vegeta's heart, and instinctively, it causes a change within him. So not only does he become a Majin servant of Babidi, but he actually undergoes a transformation.
Super Saiyan.
It essentially unlocks that latent power. It's something Vegeta never truly had a catalyst for before, nor was it something that Vegeta was even aware of. As he succumbs to the spell, he also transforms, becoming a Super Saiyan for the very first time. Although, he doesn't even realize it. He's under Babidi's control. And this just makes him even more susceptible to Babidi's magic. As a Super Saiyan, those feelings of evil are amplified. He's easier to control, and he has more energy for Babidi to exploit. At his current level, he's still not as strong as Dabura, but this will make the energy collection process a lot quicker. So Babidi begins taking that energy. Vegeta essentially turned into a battery for Majin Buu. Babidi still does encounter some resistance though. At first he was able to easily exploit Vegeta and did have that full control, but slowly it's going away, but that won't really be a problem too soon. And Babidi fights against it too, fortifying his control over Vegeta. And it continues like this. Vegeta's energy constantly gets drained, being fed to Buu's egg, and it doesn't really take too long for it to revive Buu in the process. With all this energy from Vegeta, Buu comes back. And Babidi doesn't really have a use for Vegeta anymore. As for Dabura, he recognizes that Buu is probably a pretty big threat. I believe that he'd still try to fight Buu like normal, and of course he'd end up losing. Although, watching this makes Babidi curious because maybe he could use Buu to get rid of Vegeta. Of course, Babidi has no use for Vegeta anymore, but he's immortal. He can't just get rid of him, and he probably won't be a reliable servant. At some point, he will break free. So Babidi begins thinking. Buu turned Dabura into a cookie, so maybe he could turn Vegeta into some type of food and just eat him. Will he regenerate from that? Well, only one way to find out. Babidi tries to command Buu to go after Vegeta, taking his focus off him for a very brief moment, just enough for Vegeta to briefly regain control. And in this short moment of control, he does really the only thing he could think of. He charges up all of his power. The technique he used before against Frieza on accident, he uses it here again. He's self-destructing. Vegeta performs a final explosion. Babidi realizes by the time it's too late, because Buu wasn't listening to him, and Vegeta had just enough time to charge up and fire it off. Everything around them is destroyed. The planet they're on completely disappears. Vegeta holds nothing back. It kind of injures Buu a bit, but doesn't really do too much to him. And of course, since Vegeta is immortal, he does regenerate from this, but he doesn't have his full energy right now. And in the process of destroying his body, he destroyed his mind too, and it regenerated, freeing himself from Babidi's grasp and also killing Babidi in the process. It's a good thing he did that because now he's free and he still does have that new form. He has a lot to process right now because he transformed, he had his mind taken over, this Majin Buu guy is here, everything. Although it does dawn upon Vegeta, whatever transformation he just achieved was something he never knew about before. This must be what a Super Saiyan is. This entire time, he thought he was a Super Saiyan. He didn't know it was an actual transformation. And of course, he's been growing a lot stronger, but he never unlocked this specific secret. And it kind of ruined the experience because Babidi was the one to do it. Whatever, he'll have to focus on that later. He's going to have to find some way to deal with Buu, because as he is now, even after self-destructing, he's not going to be able to do a lot of damage to him. Plus, Buu actually might have a way to defeat him. He saw that other guy get turned into food. Vegeta can't die, but what happens if he gets turned into food and eaten? Especially with this monster having access to magic. He has no idea how to counter that. Of course, Buu's revival isn't going unnoticed. A few moments earlier, on King Kai's planet, King Kai was watching all of this go down with Goku. And as they're watching it all happen, two people arrive on King Kai's planet.
Oh, shit.
It causes King Kai to freak out because it's Shin and Kibito, who Goku learned is above him in the hierarchy of Kais. They didn't expect this to happen so soon. It of course makes sense, they just had no way to know what was happening right now. Either way, they need help. They knew Goku would probably be their best bet because, well, he's been around Otherworld a lot. They've heard about him. And they asked to see some of Goku's
one of the strongest.
They tell him Buu's like nothing before. So, Goku powers up, showing off his strongest form. A few years back, he unlocked Super Saiyan against the androids, and of course he kept training after that, eventually mastering the form and going beyond it. Right now his peak is Super Saiyan 2.
Okay.
He unlocked this through training, and so did Gohan.
Okay.
So he's not the only one with this form.
They strong.
He wanted to make sure Gohan would be strong, and of course, with him keeping up with Goku, Gohan's been growing this entire time too. Shin asks if they could bring him along, and Goku says yeah, he's perfectly fine with that. And thankfully Gohan actually can join at the moment. So they quickly teleport to Earth, and then teleport to one of the nearby planets, with Gohan being filled in about everything that just happened. Buu senses them arrive and goes down to this planet. Unfortunately for them, they can't just fight out in space, which is where Buu is right now. This is pretty much the exact moment Vegeta just gained control. So, Buu stops focusing on him, and then flies towards that planet, which causes Vegeta to follow him too, because he could feel that familiar power. There's no way. It feels like Kakarot's ki. Buu gets there first, with Goku and Gohan both in Super Saiyan 2, ready to face off against him. Shin and Kibito watch nearby, and they see as Vegeta enters the atmosphere too. Vegeta can't believe what he's witnessing. Soldiers from his army try and contact him, making sure he's fine. He says he'll tell them when to come here, but for now, he needs to be alone. There's nothing they can do here anyways. The worst part of this is the second he sees Goku and Gohan, he can see they're using the same power as him. They've become Super Saiyans already? No, that's not a Super Saiyan. Vegeta's only had this for a few moments, and he could tell that there's something different about theirs. The aura's different. There's sparks of electricity flying around it. It seems more intense than what he has. This entire time, Kakarot's had Super Saiyan, and he's not too sure yet, but he's maybe even gone beyond that. And based on his power too, Kakarot and Gohan are both stronger than him, by a noticeable margin as well. Goku looks at Vegeta and simply smirks. They'll be fighting soon enough. But they've come here to fight Majin Buu. So together, Goku and Gohan face off against him.
Okay.
They're actually doing pretty well. With their combined power, it's enough to hold.
You telling me these niggas was having flirty eyes against each other? They was checking each other out and shit. These niggas gay. I'm playing.
But still,
this
in
old
order to fully
bromance
kill
they
Buu,
got.
they would need to hit him with a full power combined attack at the same time, and destroy every bit of him in that moment, which is a lot easier said than done. They would basically need him to stand completely still for this and not even try and fight back. So they definitely have the power right now to do this, and for now they just fight him like normal. Goku has a lot of fun with this too because it's the first serious fight he's had in a while. Not since the androids has he fought someone this powerful, or rather, someone that's actually on his level, because this guy's way beyond where the androids were. And Vegeta continues watching on in disbelief, powering down as well. He's been so utterly surpassed by them. He couldn't even fight that Dabura guy. These two, on the other hand, probably could kill him. Based on where their power stands, Vegeta's no match for them in terms of strength. He's immortal, he's powerful, but he can't beat Goku though. They continue fighting Buu and they're losing energy, and it doesn't seem like Buu's losing any steam. This is exactly what Goku's been training for though. He got to enjoy his fight against Buu, but there is something he wants to test out here because he's not sure he'll get to try it again. Also, Gohan suggests they use it, just to be on the safe side, especially because of what Shin and Kibito were telling them about Buu. The two of them step back and tell Buu to watch closely, and he does, wondering what they're about to pull off. It's a good thing Buu's easily entertained because he watches as the two of them perform some sort of weird dance, and Vegeta watches on equally confused.
Oh hell no, they about to do the fusion?
Over this time, Goku has learned the fusion dance, and he showed it to Gohan too. They were expecting to use this against Vegeta, but looks like this is the first time they're using it in a fight. And a new fighter emerges, named Kuhan, the fusion dance version of Goku.
Kuhan.
He goes full power and pretty quickly ends up finishing the fight. Although, the new fusion does enjoy his fight a little bit, but Buu stands no chance now that they're fused. And just like that, Majin Buu's defeated. But Vegeta's of course still there. He watched the entire thing, and he's feeling so many negative emotions right now. Confusion, anger, both at himself and at the others, shame, so many different things at once. Not to mention everything that happened before they even came here. He just got embarrassed by not just Babidi and Dabura, but also Kakarot and his son. He underestimated them. To think, over this time, they got that far ahead, and he didn't even realize it. He didn't stand a chance. Nothing ever pushed him to become a Super Saiyan. In fact, he thought he was a Super Saiyan this whole time. But not until a few moments ago did he actually truly become a Super Saiyan. These two, on the other hand, they were leaps and bounds ahead of him.
Oh, he mad. Oh, he pissed.
He simply glares at the fusion, and then flies off into space. He doesn't even try and fight or converse, because he knows he's not going to be able to do anything. And it's probably a better choice for him too, because they might even have some sort of way around his immortality. Kakarot didn't even seem fazed by Vegeta, and based on that weird fusion thing they did, surely Kakarot's picked up on some strange new techniques that he's not privy to. And Kuhan watches on as Vegeta flies off, because he can't really fly off into space like that. But he doesn't want to chase him. The fusion can tell just by Vegeta's reaction that he didn't expect any of that. He's not on the level of Goku or Gohan. They defuse too, and Shin wonders why they didn't go after him. Well, it wouldn't really be worth it. They have been preparing for him, and they could have just sealed him right there with the Mafuba, but they came to fight Majin Buu, and they got that done. There was no need to chase Vegeta and start something new. Well, aren't they worried about Vegeta? And Goku says, not entirely. It's nice to have him as motivation because this entire time, they've been training to grow stronger than him. And they're sure that after seeing this, Vegeta's going to try and go beyond them. Honestly, Goku expected him to be a lot stronger, but based on his reaction there, and how his ki felt, Vegeta's full power isn't comparable with theirs. But still, he's immortal and he can grow quickly. So they're sure he's going to figure out something soon enough. When the time comes, Goku will fight Vegeta one-on-one. But these weren't the right circumstances, and it's not like Goku to just seal him away right here. Besides, the Mafuba is just a backup plan. He still wants to find if there's any other way to beat Vegeta if possible. Well, Shin doesn't really understand it, but he kinda does get it too. Goku is a Saiyan after all, and that kinda makes sense. He really is a fascinating mortal, although Goku and Gohan are pretty content. Gohan's content because Buu was stopped, and Goku's pretty content because he had a really great fight, and they finally got to try out fusion in a real battle, which was really cool for him. But they're probably going to encounter Vegeta soon enough. With that,
he pulling
leave
up
off here for now. What'd you guys think about this?
Alright, that was two good chapters right there, man. What if Vegeta stayed evil? Vegeta realized he just got outclassed by some low level warriors. You know, we about to see what Vegeta about to do after this. I don't know. I don't know what Vegeta about to do. Vegeta, I mean, I don't think he's gonna be on the level of Goku. But I mean, he's immortal though, so we about to see what happens. And make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Check out the first chapter right here. Check out another video you might like right here, and I'll catch y'all next time, man. Peace.